All right, guys, welcome back to the channel. Dean and Mike. We're back with gonna go back into Seattle, I think, I mean, this is the music that we both, I think, really relate to and really like a lot. And I feel like this scene of music hasn't really gotten enough attention in more recent years. It was a big thing back in the 90s, and I think it's been, especially some of the bands that we're doing, right? We're doing a lot of the bands that didn't really get recognized as sort of like the forerunners of the initial explosion that came in the early 90s. There was actually a lot of bands that began this whole scene in the 80s. And those bands, even in the 90s, didn't get enough attention. So it's kind of cool to go back into the history of some of these bands in Seattle. And we've done some other stuff that's more modern too, right? So that there's just always good music coming out of that area.
Yeah.
So we're going to do a band called Green River. And this band actually has members of Pearl Jam in it. So this was considered one of the first bands of the whole scene that started the whole thing. It was the singer Mark Arm who actually used the term grunge as sort of what kind of music they play, and it started the whole genre title and everything. So
Which members of Pearl Jam?
so this has Stone Gossard, who is the rhythm guitar player in Pearl Jam. He wrote most of the music in 10, the first Pearl Jam record. And then the bass player, Jeff Ament, or Jeff Ament, I'm not sure how you say his last name, but he's also in this band. Green River were arguably the first Seattle grunge band, forming around the same time as the rest of Seattle's first wave, the Melvins, Soundgarden, and Malfunction, and codifying the primary elements of the sound. In 1985, they became the first grunge band to release a record, kickstarting the Seattle music scene and later helping to establish the Sub Pop label, which a lot of grunge bands were a part of. Green River are even more famous for the bands that sprang from their breakup, Mudhoney, Mother Love Bone, and later of which also contained the roots of Pearl Jam. Green River's lineage is generally better celebrated than their actual music. The band's hard rock leanings are most audible on the 1985 EP Come On Down, while their 1988 album Rehab Doll evened out the punk metal proportions and most closely resembled the prototypical grunge sound that would explode in the 90s. So let's just jump right in.
But you have to stay there with
trippy beat with what's going on with the guitars and stuff, you know.
Right. Yeah, pretty
Sounds like
fast
the
pace.
singer from Mudhoney too. Is that who it is?
Yep, that's
Okay.
who it is. And it has that sound. I mean, not only does it have that vocal approach, but it also just sounds like them too, I think musically. Like Mudhoney seems to have that same blueprint sound.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I like Mudhoney.
Yeah, I do too. It's very it's very Stooges though, right? I mean, it sounds like Iggy Pop. Iggy Pop sort of has that sound in his vocal approach.
Yeah, I trip out on this drum pattern, and then what's happening like with the guitars is pretty cool.
Yeah.
And if
What's
you read the
crazy
lyrics
is
at the same time, it's like it's hard to follow. I mean, it's like because the lyrics are going against the drum beat, you
yeah,
know.
the cadence of it.
Hmm.
Yeah, what's funny is so like I was saying, they got the bass player, the guitar player, Pearl Jam, then of course Mark Arm, who went to go sing for Mudhoney after this band disbanded. But the drummer became a doctor.
Oh wow, wow, what
So
a
he
trip.
totally left the whole music punk rock scene. He just became a doctor.
Yeah, more money.
Yeah, hopefully he's happy, right? I mean, as long as you're
Right,
happy, that's all that matters, man. You gotta do what you want. You gotta do what you love.
that's right.
Hard to say whether or not he's talking about Seattle, but I can only assume probably either that town or maybe a town nearby, just one of the smaller towns.
Well, I mean, it could be metaphoric too, you know. I mean, like in that top line, you know, I mean, um, there's this town called heaven. Someone makes everything seem all right. Um, you know, that could be like, you know, what everybody perceives as, you know, like in religion or whatever, how heaven and hell is, you know, like you're either saved or condemned, you know, and um, he'd rather be straddling the fence, you know, like, you know, where's my third choice kind of thing, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Fuck this
right.
shit, you know. I don't want to go to either or. I want to go to my own heaven, you know.
Yeah.
Even if it means I got to go to hell or something, you know. I mean, I don't. It's you know, um, it's just it's living life on your own terms, you know. Even though um, this is the way it is, you know. It's like fuck the way it is, you know. I'd rather do whatever the fuck I want to do, you know. I want to be free.
What's interesting too is in the song here in the lyrics he says you have to stay here with her. So he almost gives a personification to what he's talking about, right?
Well, I think that her is referred to as the town,
Right.
you know. Um, either heaven or hell. Um, you have to stay with her for the rest of your life, and he's able to drive through, you know, either heaven or hell, you know, and be an either or, you know,
Yeah.
because he's been driven to the end of his rope, you know, like yeah, I got no choice but to like do whatever I want because, you know, it's like fuck both sides, really. You know, I want to have my own side. You know, why does it
Yeah.
have to be heaven or hell? You know, in a lot of ways, you know. A lot of people aren't really satisfied with that idea anyway, you know.
Yeah. I like how he says here, I won't bother to pick you up.
Yeah.
You'll get there all by yourself.
Yeah, you'll get there all by yourself. That's cool.
Is that kind of like saying like you're gonna be thrown in too, man? You're gonna figure it out just like I did.
Right, right. Yeah, like I mean, it's like you're driving by, right? And you know, you see somebody on the side of the road and you're just like, later, you know, but
Yeah.
you're
You
gonna
don't want
get
to go where
there.
I'm going anyway, man.
Yeah, I'm just gonna get there fucking faster, you know, like
That's how I live my life, but that's not how I wanna die. That's not how I wanna die. Am I summer dying? Am I summer dying? Am I summer dying? Am I summer dying? This is just how I live.
You know that doing the you know, if you're in the pit and you're like you know, just rocking out, going, you know, just jamming around in circles to that kind of a beat, that feels trippy, man. Because I mean,
Yeah.
because you're just you know pumping with the fucking you know just doing this you know and then he goes into the you know that the straight part of the beat you know then you feel more at you know at tempo but I mean it feels trippy so
Yeah.
when you rock out to it you know with your head it just I don't know it's just bringing memories of the pit I mean because yeah it just
I
does
know it's songs like this that I wish I had a better sound system in here for this song because it just isn't doing it justice, man. These little speakers, I need something with some more bass and some more mids and
yeah no yeah it yeah, this is a cool song though. I mean, I like that the switch between you know what I just mentioned that beat to the regular beat. You know, um, I can't remember it. I mean, like if you play it back like to where it switches from you know to the regular beat. See if you can find it real quick.
Seem alright, but you have to stay there with her for the rest of your life.
Yeah,
I'm driving on to the end.
that part that you're talking about where it switches from that and then it goes into that second part, that's very
yeah,
funky. That's like a funk thing.
yeah,
I
yeah,
think it's again pulling from that Malfunction sound a little bit. It sounds like Malfunction. This genre very similar to that Malfunction song we did, My Only Fan.
yeah, yeah.
It's
But
like bluesy, but it's also punk, but it's also like
yeah.
funky.
Right. It's got a lot of crazy elements in there, you know. And then that's yeah, and then when you switch to that regular, you know, that regular beat, um, it opens it up and uh yeah, it's just a trip, man. There's like there's a lot of cool elements to it, you know. And the way he's
Yeah.
singing over the top of it, makes it wild, you know.
He's very wild, which is that Iggy Pop wild sound, you know.
Yeah,
Dude just never wears a shirt, probably not wearing pants.
yeah. I mean, kind of there was a metal band or metal I don't know what they were, but there's this band back in the day called The Accused, and
Yeah.
you ever hear about them?
Yeah, I've heard of them.
Yeah, yeah, they have some crazy fucking singing too and shit, you know. A lot of you know, just, you
Yeah,
know,
that's like 80s punk too, right? 80s punk,
uh-huh,
I think.
yeah, yeah. So I mean, yeah, so I mean, you know that it's a trip back then, you know, you hear like all these different things that other people are doing at the time. You just grab tapes from the store, jam them, and then you're like, well, fuck, I like what that guy is doing. Let's fucking try it with this shit, you know, and mix it up with some, you know, funk and you know, and punk and you know, and
And
like
jazz.
and
Yeah.
jazz and fuck, you know, and throw a crazy beat in there, you know, and fuck it, you know, see what happens. And you
Yeah.
come up with, you know, stuff like this, you know, it's like, yeah,
Innovators, right? That's what these guys are. They're
yeah,
innovators.
yeah. Well, that's what you
And
got to do in music. Just find what you like and see if you can turn it into something that you like even more.
I like the part in the song here where it breaks down and it's just the drums, and then I think the bass comes in, and
Uh-huh.
it's just like it's just drums and bass. Let me try to find that.
Yeah, I want to hear that again.
To the end of my road. There's this place where the borders of each town touch.
I like how his vocals are a little.
Too well.
He sounds like he's like on a megaphone talking or something on like an intercom.
Right, right.
If you stand just right, stand just right. One foot in heaven, one in hell. That's how I live my life. That's how I live my life. But that's not how I wanna die. That's not how I wanna die. My time of dying.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Kind of a little spotlight for the guitar too to do some lead stuff, which Stone Gossard, I mean, he was kind of, I mean, Pearl Jam has like a lead guitar player, but Stone has done a lot of lead guitar work too in Pearl Jam, and he wrote all of that like guitar work on the first album. So he's a very good guitar player, despite not being the main lead guitar player, you know.
Right, 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 right.
But you could definitely tell he's grown since this record. I mean, this I could tell this is a little sloppy and it's a little probably mostly in the production end,
Yeah.
but he's gotten, you know, we should do something off 10 too, maybe, or some Pearl Jam stuff. And, you know, you'll hear the evolution from this guitar work to the where he's, you know, moved to.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, these guys have graduated like way far from, you know, from this band. I mean, especially when you're in it, you don't really see, you know, how, you know, you're progressing, um, because you're in it, you know, you're in the middle of it, you know.
Yeah. And
It's only
people
years
didn't see
later.
all these small bands that worked really hard in the early days.
Hmm. Yeah, and you rarely. I mean, I really never track myself, you know. So I mean, there's no way of knowing. It's not like, you know, like you know how, you know, people track the way they're how high they're growing with their kids on the fucking on the door, you know, fucking, you know, we don't do that as musicians. We just
Right.
float around and see, you know. Well, I'm not speaking for all. I can't speak for all musicians, but for myself, you know, I mean, I don't
Right.
really. I just like to fucking jam, you know.
Right. Because I mean that's what art is, right? It's a moment of, you know, it's pausing a moment of creativity.
Yeah, these songs are created in so many different ways.
Yeah, this song for sure sounds like it was you can almost feel like the progression in the garage again. It's like that same Malfunction. The same thing I felt with Malfunction, I feel with this song. It's you just feel like you're in that garage with the band and they're just jamming. It doesn't sound like it's like premeditated too much. It's all like probably improvised. All these the soloing sounds like it wasn't thought out. It was just in that moment, you know.
Yeah. Well, I like that beat, you know, that fucking dun 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 dun
Mhm.
dun 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 then right into fucking dun dun, you know, just doing, you know, I can't even fucking remember it now, but I mean,
Yeah.
just to a straight beat from, you know, from that kind of a choppy, you know, type of feel.
Yeah, I like those bar chords he was playing that got funky. Then that second part, he just was doing
Yeah,
the bar chords,
yeah, yeah, that's pretty fucking cool.
which
Yeah.
is not really heard of in like a punk song. A punk song, you just hear power chords, but this is like adding that funk element where the full bar chord is kind of you're getting those higher tones in the full strum.
Right, right. And that's what's cool about, and you said Gossard is the one doing the guitars on this.
Yeah, Stone Gossard.
So, you know, but so he wasn't in Mudhoney, right? So I mean, so and it's funny because like how, you
How
know,
similar the sound is, huh?
yeah, how they took it from from this to Mudhoney, and Mudhoney almost, you know, sounds like this, you know.
Yep.
So
I'm guessing Mark R must have had an input on like what he wanted the band to sound like, probably.
right, is that the singer?
Yeah.
Okay, okay, yeah,
You know, and from what I understand, it was like a difference of like a direction. Like it sounded like Mark Arm wanted to keep that real gritty, low production punk sound without being a big anthemic band. And then I think
right.
Stone and Jeff, they were like big fans of Kiss and Aerosmith, and they wanted a more high
Oh,
production type
right, right,
sound.
right, 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 right. So one of them wanted to be more raw, and the other wanted to be more produced.
Exactly. I should also mention that Steve Turner is the rhythm guitar player in this band, and he also, with Mark Arm, went on to play in Mudhoney. And
Okay,
that's why you hear Mother Love Bone. That's why you get that real anthemic, grandiose.
right, because this was before
Right,
Mother Love Bone, right?
right. So
Oh
this band
no.
broke up, and then Mark Arm created Mudhoney, and then Jeff and Stone created Mother Love Bone with the singer of Malfunction, Andrew Wood.
Okay. Okay. Interesting.
Yeah, it's crazy how incestual this all is because they're all like in the same town. There's like they all know each other.
Yeah. Well, that's just like, you know, like our own neighborhoods, you know. I mean, a couple of guys get together and jam, and then like, you know, people like just find different interests in others' projects, and then next thing you know, you spawn two different bands, you know, with a lot of influences, you know, from both just, you know, drawn into it. And um I mean, I love the way, Mudhoney turned out, and I love the way, Pearl Jam turned out. So I mean, you can't, it's always a blessing in a way for things like that to happen. It's like destiny,
It is. That's the crazy thing about it. I think it was just all meant to be and happen that way, you know.
Yeah,
I think it was all for training for these guys ultimately to end up in the bands they belonged in.
yeah. Because now you got two different types of tunes that you can pick from, and
And
that's
Mudhoney is still a band today. Mudhoney is still a band.
right, right. Yeah,
They've opened up for Pearl Jam a few times actually. It's crazy.
that's pretty cool because it's like a
Yeah.
reunion and shit. You get to kick
Like
back,
full circle,
fucking,
right?
yeah,
And it's cool that they didn't there was no animosity. It was like we get it. You want to do that and I want to do this. So
right, right. Did they ever like jam some different songs together on stage as like two bands, like like how Dave Grohl kind of brings up like people to the stage and just fucking jams different songs with other musicians. Did they ever do that together, Mudhoney and Pearl Jam
yeah, so they've had there's a song called Swallow My Pride. I think it's a Green River song, and they've done that song together a few times. Or they've
live?
done a cover. I think they've done like Kick Out the Jams by MC5. I think they've done a cover of that together.
Did they do it live or just recordings?
Live. Yeah, most I don't think they've done any recordings together, but definitely they jam out live.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
so
it's cool to see
fun.
that.
Yeah, that's so fun. You know, I mean, jamming with dudes you haven't, you don't,
Just have that history.
yeah, yeah, jamming with people who have that history, and then like, and then being able to share that with the audience live. That's just the
Yeah.
ultimate, dude.
Yeah.
Fuck
Yeah,
yeah.
it's kind of cool because most people don't really they look at Pearl Jam as kind of the last remaining Seattle band, but there's a few still out there, and then Mudhoney it gets kind of put on the back burner a lot of times, and that by really Mark Arm's choosing, they want that. They don't want to be a big MTV TV band. They wanted to always be very, very small, minimal.
Oh, okay.
So, but people forget that band is still around.
Yeah, yeah. They got some cool tunes, man. I mean,
We'll have to do some Mudhoney for sure, man. We'll have to jump
yeah,
in on some.
yeah, yeah. I really like their tunes. It's such a different flavor, you know.
Yeah.
And he sings a little bit different now. Not as, not as much like on this song. Uh, he seems more like he's got more control,
Right. He's got more of a direction, I think, in his head when he's applying that to a song.
Right, right. Yeah. Well, these are the early days, where
Right.
everybody's just figuring it out, man.
Yeah, I think everybody kind of sounds a little amateur, but that's it makes sense.
Yeah. Well, for the
It's an
time.
amateur recording, it's an amateur band, so
Yeah.
but it's kind of the spark that started it all. I mean, it really is. It's part of the whole history of what came way before Nirvana, before it got really big, before Pearl Jam, before
Yeah.
Alice in Chains got big.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a trip.
We'll have to do some Alice in Chains too. I think we need to do
And what
some
year was this song created or
this had to have been probably like 85, 86.
okay.
Yeah. I think the oldest one was actually the one we did prior to this. It was Human, I think, but I don't know if that necessarily means Human isn't really considered probably a part of the grunge scene, and they only had one record, so I don't know if I almost consider them a hardcore punk band from Seattle, but they probably would be considered part of the grunge scene. But this I think came after Human even
Oh, okay. I see.
because that was 84. I mean, that was old.
But I mean, when you're in the same town or same city, and musicians just like fucking. That's how it is, like like you and I, like, hey man, cruise over, dude. Fucking, we'll throw a jam, and it's and you come up with different things, it's like, hey, we should remember that, or just hit record, and it's like so where that's at, and then I'll just write lyrics over the top of that, or so, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
People just
Yeah,
that's
it was
all.
a very natural thing. The whole grunge scene just kind of happened naturally, and it's crazy that it just sort of exploded. It just became a very I think because of whatever was going on with the metal at the time, hair metal, and how, it just didn't have a whole lot of content, as far as like lyrics, and
Well, yeah, yeah,
wasn't very genuine. It was very produced.
right, right, right. Yeah, the hair got bigger than the music.
Exactly. See? I'm trying to get my hair bigger. All right, man. Well, this was a good one. I think obviously we both like this one. It's just like the Malfunction one. I feel like it was a little gritty, but I feel like it's so respectable because of its meaning in the whole grunge scene.
Yeah,
You just got to appreciate it.
right, right.
All right, guys. Like, comment, share, subscribe. Suggest us another song. Could be anything. We'll listen to it. We've got ears. We'll listen. We got hearts. We got minds. All right, guys.
Uh, ciao, ciao, ciao. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Suddenly something came a shine. See you, love.